everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, April 10th. So where we last left off, it was another stretch of bad court days, bad luck for Sharon. She had just taken the stand, she'd just taken the opportunity to defend herself against these charges after all of these months, to tell her side of the story. And I was so hoping that that was going to be a turning point for her. I wanted to see Sharon save herself. You know, it's always someone else saving Sharon, and I thought this would be a great moment to have her just get up there and tell the truth and everything works out, but no. That is so not what happened. But it wasn't her fault, really, because the DA was totally relentless. I mean, this guy, the only thing he cared about was getting his side of the story out to the jury. It was not about playing by the rules for this guy, which is surprising because he's the district attorney. I mean, the judge warned him more times than I can count about keeping things on track, but he was focused on getting the information to the jury, whether it was going to be stricken from the record or not. He wanted to get his side, you know, this picture that he had painted of Sharon murdering Skye in cold blood. He wanted to get that to the jury at any cost, and it worked. I hate to say it, but it was starting to feel like that was outweighing Sharon's sincere testimony, and it was bleak. Well, let me tell you guys, it was not pretty. It was looking very dark for Sharon. However, at the moment when things were looking their bleakest, Adam comes through the courtroom doors like a shaft of light. But of course with a bang, with a huge bang. I mean, the DA jumps up out of his seat and he's like, "This man is wanted for perjury. I demand that he be arrested immediately." The judge is banging her gavel. I mean, the courtroom is chaotic, which I think is probably what Adam does best, is cause chaos. And that's exactly what he did. It was like all of this noise in the courtroom was background noise for the moment when Adam and Sharon saw each other for the first time. And Sharon just looks at him like he is her savior. It was very that. It was very ironic because Adam is this demonized character and Sharon is looking to him like he has the answer to her prayers. And it was wonderful just seeing them just connecting with, it was no words, just them looking at one another with all of this courtroom chaos around them. It was a really great moment, and I do have to say one thing for Sharon: she never lost faith in Adam. She shucked aside responsibility on so many other things in her life. She lost faith in so many other things, but there was that faith in Adam, and she never lost it. And even though Adam left town under really crappy circumstances, frankly, I was mad at him when he decided to pretend to be all drunk and say all of those horrible things to her. He was like, "I don't love you, I never loved you, I just want to get away from you," and then left town, just left her high and dry. I never probably would have wanted to see him again. I would have been concerned with my own life and my own situation, but Sharon has this faith in the devil, in a way. And it never wavered, and it was a really good scene. It was a good moment. So the judge decides to call a recess given this new development, and Adam and Vance and Sharon run off to confer with each other, and Adam starts to tell the story about Thailand, and he saw the video and the chase for Koa, and you can just see this glimmer of hope in Sharon's eyes. Like, at her very darkest moment, her man has come in and he's gonna save her, and Adam is burying the lead. lead. Like, he's telling the whole story, watching Sharon get her hopes up. But the end of the story is, but I don't have any evidence of any of this. So, sorry. And it was, that was sad because as soon as he said it, Sharon's face, you could just see visibly that it changed. And finally, honestly, I mean, Adam is like, I'm ready to take the stand and testify to all of this. And Vance, who finally, once I'm agreeing with, is like, no, you're not. You're not going to take the stand and tell anybody anything. I mean, it's a truly, truly terrible idea. Sharon is stuck in this hole, and the last person that she needs testifying on her behalf is Adam. His word is worth nil. I mean, if you want to have somebody, testify, why not find an upstanding member of the community? But no, Adam wants to testify. He insists on it. Vance is like, no freaking way. It's a bad idea. And it was a bad idea. It was only going to hurt Sharon. And the DA saw exactly that. The DA's sitting back like, oh yeah, let's get Adam on the stand. Let's find out what's up with this. I'll call him, sure. So the DA calls Adam to the stand, and Adam knows in his heart that he's just got to get this information out about the video. He knows that the DA isn't going to ask him good leading questions, and the DA isn't going to let him tell his side of the story. So Adam sits up in the on the stand, and he's so smug is the best word for it. He's just sitting there smugly, and kind of with this sort of smooth, like I'm a smooth guy kind of air about him. And the DA is asking him questions, and Adam's answers are very short. It's, one word, 2-word answers. He's not giving him anything else. And just as things start to get the most hostile, Adam starts shouting out to the jury about Koa and the video in Thailand, and Sharon didn't do this, and this is his last-ditch effort. He's going to use the same tactic that the DA has been using, screw the rules, and he's just going to try to get his side of the story out to the jury. Of course, he has no proof of this video. There's no proof of anything. There's no proof of anything that he's saying, and we're all just relying on the hope that the jury hears that there's a video and is imagining it, is imagining that Sharon is saving Skye rather than pushing her into the volcano. It's a very good moment for Adam. I will, on the one hand, he's relying on the fact that the jury will hear him and that they will recognize that he is telling the truth and that he's being sincere, and that they will take his word into account as part of their deliberation. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. That's not at all what happened. No one is buying Adam's word, and why should they? On what planet is Adam a trustworthy character? He doesn't even have the demeanor of a man who's telling the truth. I mean, I know he's telling the truth, and I'm thinking, this guy is coming off as a total, smug con man. He's sitting up there, just the way he's answering the questions, the way he's conducting himself, even the way he was sitting back in the chair. He seemed like a con man who was trying to get his girlfriend off of a murder charge. I mean, that was totally the vibe that I got. That he was a desperate man trying to get Sharon off the hook. So I hate to say that, but that was even the vibe that I got. So Adam leaves the stand. The trial breaks for the day. Sharon goes back to her cell. It's not looking good. And to make matters worse, Noah comes to visit her. And it is not good. It is not pretty at all. It was basically Doris's visit last week times 2. It was sad. I mean, Noah is standing there looking at his mother behind bars for the first time, and he starts to realize the depths that Sharon has sunk to. I mean, this is a woman he looked up to. And now he just sees her sunken, you know, and he's ashamed. He's ashamed that Sharon is his mother. He's ashamed that the Newmans are his family, and he doesn't make any attempt to hide it. It's not about sugarcoating things. It's about getting this off of his chest. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he let it all hang out, and this is what really puts Sharon over the edge. It's this conversation with Noah that makes her feel more desperate than ever. She's facing a life in prison. She's starting to realize that now my son hates me. What is Faith gonna think? I mean, Faith more than anyone could grow up and in 20 years completely hate Sharon for what she's done, for this path that she's chosen. And just with this feeling of total desperation, Sharon has yet another meeting with Adam. And in the meantime, while Sharon's having this conversation with Noah, Adam is coming up with a plan B. Okay? He sees things are not going very well with the jury. So he's come up with a brilliant plan to save Sharon. Another one. So, are you ready for it? Are you ready to know what Adam's brilliant plan is? Here, let me give it to you. Adam tells Sharon that it's in her best interest to break out of jail. Yeah, really. Seriously, this is his advice to her at this point. And here again, this is Adam helping Sharon make awesome life decisions. He is there just holding her hand all the way down the primrose path. It's just awesome. It's truly great. It's a good idea. Never heard such a great idea in my life, Adam. Sharon has a little bit of sense left in her brain, and she's like, no, I'm not breaking out of jail. Why would I do that? That's ridiculous. There's no way I could ever do that. But Adam has become this voice in the back of her head. Like, Adam is the personification of the voice in the back of Sharon's head that she's always said no to in the past. But here Adam is telling her that this is the only way out. He's convincing her in his Adam way that this is what's in her best interest. And the way he phrases it, it's like the most natural and normal thing in the world. Of course it's a good idea for you to break out of jail. So, the trial resumes the next day. Sharon is wrecked. She's carrying a lot of burdens. And by the way, Sharon Case is doing a phenomenal job, you guys, because I am believing it. Everything that Sharon is going through, I'm believing it. It feels real. So, the jury comes back with the verdict. And it is pins and needles, pins and needles. Guilty of murder in the first degree. Everyone in the courtroom is shocked. Pure shock on their face and sadness. Everyone else in Genoa City is watching on the TV like, what just happened? What just happened? And I had a tear in my eye. Whew. You guys, Sharon is falling all over herself. She looks like she is going to puke. Just her whole body looks like it's gonna contort and just collapse. Which honestly would be my first reaction too, by the way. I would just be like, bleh. Oh, it was intense. The bailiff drags Sharon out of the courtroom, but Sharon is like so completely beside herself, saying, I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna be sick. The bailiff and her, the officer and her, make a stop to the ladies' restroom on the way back to her cell. Because, Sharon needs to powder her nose. Sharon goes into the stall, lifts off the back of the toilet, and pulls out a plastic bag from the toilet bowl, the back of the toilet bowl. I'm going, what is this? what? But she's got this look on her face. The next thing you know, Sharon bursts out of the bathroom stall and chloroforms the guard. Who is this woman? Is this Sharon? Sharon Newman? I don't even recognize her. The shimmering white heavenly angel who has never done a wrong thing in her life? Is this the same person? It's so hard to believe, but desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose. So, with the guard lying on the floor, Sharon rips the bars off of the window of the bathroom, which Adam has loosened for her. She climbs out the window and makes a getaway. Sharon is on the run, you guys. She's on the run. It's hard to believe, but she did it. Oh, yes. She did it. And she did it all in heels. Now here's the kicker. Phyllis did not come back from Thailand with Adam. Oh no. Phyllis did not pop up in Genoa City until about midweek. But when she did, she popped up with a bag of memory cards. Because deleting a file does not mean that a file is deleted. And where there's a will, there's a way. It's kind of ironic because the person that Sharon had the least amount of faith in is the one who is fighting the hardest for the truth. I mean, it's Phyllis with the rational plans. Phyllis isn't the one telling Sharon to break out of jail. Adam left Thailand. Phyllis kept on looking. She kept on keeping on. And Phyllis enlisted Malcolm to help her to try to recover the data from the memory card. The only problem is there's so many of them. Phyllis has tons of memory cards. She doesn't know which one is which. And so now she has Malcolm helping her, scrambling to try to recover the video that will exonerate Sharon for good. And Malcolm has a friend helping him. They are double timing it to try to get this evidence for Phyllis, for Sharon. But it isn't until after the verdict has been revealed and after Sharon's great escape, that Malcolm calls Phyllis on the phone to tell her he has the video. The evidence is here, but Sharon is not. Ugh. Sharon, I love you. I love you so much. And I love you too, Adam. But Sharon, let's just talk me and you here for a minute. Do you not see how Adam has made your life infinitely more tragic? But infinitely more interesting too. I have to be honest about it. It's such a double-edged sword. Well, meanwhile, Nick's life is just not turning out the way he planned. It's really sad. He left Phyllis to be with his pure white snow angel Sharon. But Sharon is so wrapped up in Adam like a piece of candy that, you know, he has no hope with her. No hope with her whatsoever. And what was supposed to be a diversion for him with Diane ended up turning into this really gross father-son triangle thing. So Nick is just, he's lost. And so this week Phyllis comes over to his house to pick up Summer, and there was almost another sexy moment with Phyllis and Nick, and I'm finding it very surprising. It was, oh, you have a sore neck, Phyllis? Let me massage you. It was longing look between the two. It was, remember when we were married and we used to do this and that? It was, hey, why don't you stay and finish your beer? It was near, 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 near. It was all of that. And again, it was Phyllis putting on the brakes. What's going on here, you guys? What do you think about this? I'm proud of Phyllis for shutting it down. Number one, because I can't lie, I feel like Phyllis has met her match in Jack. They're perfect together, I think. I've said it a million times. But number two, and probably more importantly, because I feel like Phyllis needed to break away from Nick in order to get in touch with the woman that she once was, you know, to become her own woman again. And Phyllis, a year or two ago, was as wrapped up in Nick as Sharon is wrapped up in Adam. And it wasn't healthy. It was not healthy, the way Phyllis was constantly trying to cling to Nick. And it wasn't until she dropped him that she got in touch with that former self, that former bad girl, that independent woman, and she got her stuff together and she became this really cool chick. And I like that. I like her now. Plus, Nick is on the rebound. And even if Nick and Phyllis were to get back together, I would want it to be sincere. I would not want it to be a rebound thing. This is not the time. There's too much going on. I think that Nick is confused and he is lonely. I mean, he sat in the courtroom this week watching the whole Adam and Sharon thing went down. He sees that Adam and Sharon are in love, and unfortunately, he has a front row seat for it. So the thing with Sharon isn't going to work out, and Diane was his plan B, and she is sleeping with his dad. You know, Diane keeps trying. She keeps on trying, and Nick just keeps on pushing her away. It's like every time Diane gets a little piece of information about Victor, surrounding Victor. She runs to Nick to tell him about it, thinking that it's going to change their relationship, and it never does. So when Victor learned about Sharon's conviction this week, he immediately hired Michael to get on Sharon's appeal, as if Victor couldn't have done all of this from the beginning, but he didn't. He hires Michael, tells him to get on it. And of course, Diane overhears this conversation, and she runs to Nick, hoping that this is gonna give him some comfort, as though Nick is gonna say, "Oh, thank you, Diane. This changes everything." No, Nick is like, "Listen, you made your choice. Now you need to live with it." And I cannot help but agree. I feel like that's exactly what she needs to do. Diane, I love you, but you cannot have your cake and eat it too in this scenario. You need to live with, with the choices that you've made. And plus, every time you run to Nick, Victor is like marking it down on a chart somewhere, like just building ammo so that he can use it against you when he sees fit. You know it's the truth. It's this like unspoken secret between them. I mean, Victor, it's so weird. It's like understood. I think Victor, it's unspoken, but I think Diane knows that Victor knows. And this week, Victor was having a conversation with Michael, and he, is at the same time watching Diane and Nick talk to each other at the athletic club, another uncomfortable run-in, and he realizes fully that Diane keeps overhearing these things and running to Nick, and Victor actually said to Michael, "Listen, it's okay if she runs to Nick and tells him everything, because I am using her weaknesses to my advantage." I think that says it all. I think that spells it all out perfectly. Well, on the other hand, Victor was being really, really nice to Kyle this week, and I thought it was kind of sweet. I mean, I think that Victor actually really does care about Kyle. Of course, he also cares about getting back at Jack any way he can. So, apparently Kyle had a little accident at school this week. He hurt his arm. And the school calls Diane to tell her about it, and she's ready to run off, fly off, and go get Kyle. And Victor's like, "Look, no, I'm never too busy. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go see what's wrong with Kyle." And Diane's like, "Are you sure? You obviously have other things to do." And without missing a beat, Victor said, "He's my son too." And that just really, it sounded weird. It sounded jarring hearing it coming out of Victor's mouth, and it definitely is gonna get Jack's goat. There could be nothing that would upset Jack more, I think, than realizing that Victor is kind of taking on Kyle as if he is his own son. I really think that Jack is starting to feel like he's the last man to know about everything. I mean, he and Phyllis are not necessarily connecting this week. Phyllis is off talking to everybody but Jack as soon as she gets back into town. And he is the last one to know about things that are going on with his son. I mean, it was Diane and Victor were there helping Kyle before Jack was there. And I can see the wheels turning in Jack's mind. I can see that really, really bugs him. And I feel like, I guess I was talking last week about, Jack needs something new to focus on. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the turning point for Jack. Maybe he should be spending a little bit more time focusing on Kyle instead of all of these other things. I mean, after all, Kyle is the greatest kid in the world. There's no doubt about it. Seriously, this child actor is awesome. He's awesome. He's so, normally I don't like the child actors, but for some reason I love Kyle. He's so well behaved, well, outside of the occasional snowball to Phyllis's head, which only endears me more to him. But outside of that, he's like the perfect kid. I bet he doesn't even poop. Like, this kid is just so perfect, he probably doesn't even poop. Seriously, I think there's a very strong possibility that Kyle is battery operated. Hey, didn't Tucker promise Ashley something about not using her daughter to get at Victor? I seem to recall something about that, yet Tucker called Abby to his office this week under the false pretense of wanting her to help him pick out a wedding gift for Ashley. Even I have to admit that's low. I'm a Tucker supporter, and even I have to admit that was low. So he instead offers Abby, the real reason he wanted to get her there was so that he could offer her a big old fat check for her shares of Newman Enterprises. And to her credit, Abby needs the money bad. She really, really wants the money, but not enough to partner up with a man that she despises. She is not having it. Tucker was like, hey, I'm only trying to help you out, darling. And she looked right at him and she said, my answer is no, and don't call me darling. I thought that was pretty great. She was very cool. I was very happy. I'm getting more and more happy with Abby as every week that goes by. Although, if I were Abby, I think I would get on board the Tucker train. And that's just because I find myself strangely attracted to him. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I mean, he's not my type at all, but there's something about him that I just find very sexy. Well, maybe it's just that he's like a cat, you know. He always lands on his feet. You know, he is like, basically, if he was not able to get the Newman stock out of Abby, he was able to get it out of Adam. You know, he was going to get it one way or another. So Adam was looking for a way to sell his shares of Newman so that he could help Sharon finance her escape. And so Adam shows up at Tucker's office, offers him this deal for something that he wants really badly, and Tucker's like, sure, hey, I even have the papers already drawn up. Here you go, done. They both sign on the dotted line, and now Tucker is sitting on a pretty significant piece of Newman Enterprises, and that's not enough for him. He wants more. He wants more, and he's probably gonna get it, too. I don't see how Victor didn't see this coming. I mean, what's worse, Jack getting his hands on shares of Newman or Tucker getting his hands on the shares? I mean, really, this cannot come as a surprise to Victor. It would probably benefit Victor to just find a way to partner up with Tucker or to include him, because Tucker ain't going away. He ain't giving up. He wants those shares, and he's gonna get it one way or another. And honestly, I'm so looking forward to it. I really, really want more scenes between these two titans, and throw Jack in there and we'll have it 3 titans. But I just like, Tucker versus Victor is almost as good as Tucker versus Catherine. And oh my goodness, when Catherine found out that Tucker went against her wishes after she explicitly forbade him, she found out that he went against her wishes, and she was not happy that Tucker got his hands on that stock. But I was very, very happy, because I think I'm just loving it so much. I feel like Tucker versus Catherine is just as good as Jill versus Catherine. I mean, basically, no matter who Catherine's kid is, she's gonna be feuding with them. And that's exactly what we've got. I mean, the line has been drawn in the sand. Tucker is determined to get his hands on more of Newman Enterprises, and Catherine is determined to stop him. And this week they had this really great confrontational scene at Glowworm, and Catherine actually said to him, "You know what? You underestimate me." And Tucker looked at her dead in the face and said, "You overestimate yourself, old woman." Can you believe that? That was tense. I'm like, hell no! Nobody talks to Catherine Chancellor like that. Who's this guy think he is? Catherine Chancellor has been pulling one scheme or another since you were eating strained peas, young whippersnapper. That really got me fired up, and I loved it. I loved it. Although Tucker does have one thing that Catherine doesn't have, and that is a long, dark, sordid history record of corporate fraud. He's got that working for him, and I don't know, I think maybe the SEC might be interested to hear about, you know, these current transactions in Tucker's business dealings. And who might I say is calling? His mother. Forget Andy and Ducky. I love the Glow and Chlo show. We could do a spin-off to get an entire series, entire new series just from those scenes with Gloria and Chloe this week. How great was that? I love them both, and seeing them together was so funny. I mean, Chloe's like, "This is great. I've never had a mother-in-law who liked me before." And Gloria's like, "Of course I like you. You're spunky and you got fashion sense." So these two are a great pair. And they decided to team up this week because they're both totally suspicious of Jana. And rightly so. Jana's being a shady gal lately. So they decide to break into her apartment. I love these crazy schemes. They break into her apartment to try to find out what she's up to. But of course not before they decided to coordinate their outfits. That's what I love about them. It's like a little fashion adventure that I've been waiting for. It was comedy. I just love them working together. So Gloria is distracting Jana at Victoria's house while Chloe goes up to Jana's apartment and she's going through stuff. She's pilfering through the drawers, she's looking in the locked cabinets. But the weird thing was, Jana, for some reason, has Victoria and Billy's living room on closed circuit TV. What? She has like a direct video feed of Billy and Victoria's living room being piped into her apartment. What is up with that? Like, the creepiness level just shot through the roof with that. I mean, forget everything else. That's weird. Billy and Victoria make love on that couch all the time. We've never even seen their bedroom. If they're doing it, it's on that couch. And you're telling me Jana's watching? I find that very strange. What'd you guys think of that? Weird. But I guess most importantly, it allowed Chloe to see what was going on during the conversation between Gloria and Jana at Victoria's house so that she could get out in time, you know. And by the way, it was such a pleasure to see Gloria back up to her old tricks. It's been so long since we've seen that. Gloria pretended to sprain her ankle so that she could keep Jana from going back to the apartment and catching Chloe until Jana realized, "Gloria, you're icing the wrong ankle." It was great. I really totally enjoyed that. It was so funny. Well, Chloe found nothing else except Jana's pregnancy suit. And I mean, I will admit, Chloe and Gloria are both very paranoid about Jana where Kevin is concerned. And so they jump to the conclusion that Jana has this pregnancy suit because she's planning to fake a pregnancy to try to trap Kevin into a relationship. And Chloe saw Jana last week with the ultrasound. That's of course all part of this plan with Daisy's baby, but they jump to this other conclusion. And they, being the bold women that they are, confront her about it. Gloria and Chloe show up at Jana's door. Gloria's wearing the pregnancy suit and she's like, hey, look what I found. So Jana realizes that these women have broken into her apartment. She's not happy about it. She realizes, you know what, these girls need to be taught a lesson. I've had enough. Chloe tried to get me fired from my job this week. I'm tired of it. Now they're breaking into my house. I'm calling the cops. And Gloria and Chloe get arrested. Oh yeah! It was beautiful, but except, like, yikes. Gloria and Chloe in jail behind bars and maybe being forced to wear vertical stripes. Ooh. Poor Lily heard more whispers from beyond the grave this week. She feels like she's really going off the rails, and I feel so sorry for her. She managed to see a therapist this week, which I don't know if it helped her, but honestly, I feel like we need to have a resident psychologist because all of the people in this town are crazy. They all need therapy. Like, it could be like The Sopranos, you know? And then we could, like, can you imagine having Victor or Jack or Tugger talking to a therapist? I think that would be kind of a cool twist. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking that Lily is just not crazy. I'm starting to come around to a new conclusion. Call me crazy, but I think that Kane has a twin. I think he might be an evil twin, but I think he has a twin. Colin opened up to Jill this week about his family, and he told Jill that his son killed his daughter, Samantha. Not literally, but I guess, you know, he felt that his son was a contributing factor in this girl's death. But, I mean, I just can't help but wonder, because, like, I feel like it would be a possibly plausible explanation for what's going on with Lily. Like, I don't know if our Kane died and maybe an evil Kane will come back, or is it possible that somehow evil Kane was the one that died in Lily's arms on the church steps, and that maybe our Kane is still alive? I feel like, really, if there is a twin, the switch could have happened at any point along the way. I mean, you never know. So it's possible Kane could be coming back as himself. He could be coming back as like a different guy. These are just my speculations, but I do think that there is a definite possibility that Kane, or some version of Kane, could still be alive. It's very possible. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? It'll be interesting to find out, I guess. Only time will tell. Oh, or possibly maybe that freaking letter that's laying on Lily's floor. The sexual tension between Neil and Sophia is palatable. There was a moment this week when Sophia was looking at Neil like he was a piece of fried chicken and she wanted to eat it up. I mean, seriously, she looked hungry for him and he looked hungry right back. Although Neil was like, this is wrong, it can never happen again. And Neil leveled with Sophia. He decided to level with her. He said, look, I love my brother, and I know that you love my brother, but if you're not sure about this wedding, don't marry him. And I totally agree. I couldn't agree more, because I love Malcolm. I really do. But dude is on a different wavelength. He's not like Sophia and Neil just get each other, and Malcolm is just you know, in orbit on a totally different way. He's like insisting on getting married at the church where Cain was killed. And not only do I think that it's too soon and totally inappropriate, but I was kind of annoyed that he was so worried about Lily. But Malcolm didn't even seem to give a second thought to how Sophia would feel about it. I mean, she was deeply involved in Cain's death scenario. So why not even ask her how she feels about getting married right next to where Cain bled to death? You know, why is it all about Malcolm? And why is it all about Lily? I just, yeah, that bugged me a little bit. And you know, in cooperation with the Sophia and Neil, I think it's time to turn up the heat on Sophia and Neil. Let's do that, and I'll take this a step further. Darn it, I think it's time that we start transitioning into a Malcolm and Leslie relationship, because seriously, that is a couple that I can get behind. Okay, those are my thoughts for this week. I have to tell you guys also, I am living for Celebrity Apprentice right now. I would never have even expected that I would like that show, but I totally do. This is the first time I've ever watched it, and it is dynamic. I'm very interested. I also watched The Amazing Race, and I watched Survivor, and I'm waiting for Big Brother, but Celebrity Apprentice I'm looking forward to it more than anything right now. I'm always like jazzed, so that'll be on tonight, and I'm really excited about that. You guys will have to let me know if anybody's watching that. Let me know who you're pulling for, because I'll be excited to hear. But more importantly, I am excited to hear what you think about Y&R. Leave me your comments. Don't be shy. This doesn't have to be any big deal. Just leave me a one-sentence comment. Don't make me feel so alone. Getting your comments it's like my reward. It's like, yay, you know, it's like a special little treat that I get. And you really, by leaving me a comment, you make my week. You make my days. Trust me. Believe me, I was having some bad days this past week, and then I see comments come in, and it's like, oh, good. Because this is probably my favorite thing that I do all week. This is just like it's like junk food for my brain, but I enjoy it. I love connecting with you guys, and I love the perspectives that you give me on the show. So leave me a comment, let me know what you're thinking. And I will be back next week to tell you more about what I'm thinking. So everybody, have an awesome week. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Mwah! Bye!